Hi guys, my name is Bernd Kistenmacher and I am happy to be back here after a time of convalescence. Originally I wanted to speak in this episode about the Roland JD-08 boutique sound module, the very small clone of its famous predecessor, the JD-800 digital synthesizer. I had recently tested the JD-08 for the German music platform Amazona.de. But after testing it, I stopped to make a video about it because I was and I still am very unhappy with this synthesizer. Now you may think that I have become crazy, but honestly I'm not the biggest fan of copies or clones of famous synthesizers, unless they are perfect replicas of them, as the Korg Up 2600 full scale is, for example. On the other hand, there's nothing to say against a decision of a manufacturer to clone its own heritage. Roland did this with their boutique synthesizer series, which all based on famous predecessors. The problem for me is that they didn't do that well enough. Especially the JD-08, which I was allowed to test, was a huge disappointment to me. Look and feel of the synthesizer are okay, but it has nothing to do with the accessibility and the resulting possibilities for sound design that the JD-800 had. Also, the interconnectivity of this module is not good enough for a synthesizer available in 2022. If you work with a PC and will try to integrate the sound module in your DAW, you will definitely get some problems with it. I had them and it took me a decent time to understand and to try out how I can play and record audio and MIDI at the same time via a USB-C connection. Mac users may have some more fun working with this combination, but I didn't. And finally, the sound. Well, it's not bad, but also not very special or unique, and definitely not JD-800 like. But as it always is in life, make your own experiences. Maybe be a little bit aware, but try the JD-08 out, in a shop or in your own studio. Maybe you will be more happy with it than I am. But here and now I will make a long story short and stop to talk about the synthesizer. I would rather talk about another aspect of this YouTube channel, which is filmmaking. As promised in episode 2 of my video series about the past Superbooth 2022 in Berlin, there is an aspect which is important enough to me to talk about. It is about the mistakes that I made during my filming sessions. This video is about the things that went wrong, sometimes because of lack of experience, sometimes because of terrible accidents that happened at the wrong place and in the wrong moment. Finally, some of the good moments that I had filmed, interviews, atmospheres, whatever, were a bunch of unusable crap. What happened? Well, I was so optimistic before the event that I thought I would be perfectly prepared. And it was okay to think that because all of my positive expectations based on several videos on YouTube, which I had watched before the Superbooth here. All of them more or less with the same statement, which reads how to build the perfect camera rig, or how to build a perfect run and gun setup, and so forth. I followed this path and started with the perfect camera rig, which caused so many technical problems later. So this is a story about several disasters in 3 chapters. In this video I will also talk about some consequences that I took to be better prepared in future, if this next once in a lifetime chance comes and I can film proper and in a usable way. So let's run the intro. YouTube is full of videos about the perfect run and gun camera rig for the Sony A7S III, for example, or for other full format cameras. All of them promising that you do better cinematic looking films than ever before if you follow the recommended path. I think all of those videos are telling you the truth. if you come from a higher experience level, as the most professional YouTubers here do. If you don't work on this level, you can eventually run into some traps, as I did. And I think it is okay and important to speak about mistakes or about some issues you should be aware of if you want to do the same kind of reportage style as I do if I shoot my videos on public events. So at first, let's talk about my perfect camera rig, which I had prepared in May 2022. Nerve center of everything is my Sony A7S III camera, which is the best investment that I have done during the past year. I shoot with my Sigma autofocus 24-70mm f2.8 zoom lens, which is a heavy but very versatile beast. But back to my camera. So much has been said about this camera, I cannot add more to this. But to me, this camera feels like a good partner that doesn't leave you alone. You can work with it on a high professional level, and if something goes wrong, it was because you did something wrong and not the camera. For example, if you make highly resoluted videos in the best possible quality, the camera will not overheat. I use internally two Sony CF Express Type A cards with 80 GB each, which are really very expensive but necessary if you want to film in 4K 4:2 10-bit with 120 frames per second. However, neither the camera will overheat nor the cards will cause any problems. Perfect. The next decision that I made when I bought my camera was the ability to have more power right in place. The standard NP-FC100 battery from Sony, one of them is delivered with this camera, is good for 90 minutes up to 2 hours of filming. This puts some stress into your work if you film with your camera at an event which is a full day long, for example. Also, if you have charged several batteries in your bag, you must put permanently an eye on your battery indicator if you still have enough power or not. That is definitely no good solution because a cameraman has to focus on his work first, and if you interview somebody, if you have to check your camera and the battery at the same time, it is nearly impossible to make a good and productive talk with your interview partner. I solved this problem by buying the Sony NPA MQZ1K multi-battery adapter kit. This is a portable container and charging unit for up to 4 batteries, with several connections and power routing options, including a connected dummy battery, which replaces your camera battery and delivers power from the multi-adapter kit directly to your camera. Alternatively, you can power up your camera by using an USB-C cable instead of the dummy battery. In this case, you must insert a real 5th battery in your camera that will be charged permanently from the adapter kit. The pro is that you still have an unused dummy battery to power any other device that works with NP-FC100 or NP-FC50 batteries. So far so good. I will talk later about this idea. Anyway, the multi-adapter kit extends your shooting time drastically. You can mount this kit on a camera rig and have a portable power solution. From my experience, you can film 7 to 8 hours with it without any problems. The next mountain that I had to climb was to find a proper solution for recording audio. You must imagine that you can stand at a booth, for example, and talk with another person about their latest invention, a new synthesizer, for example. You ask a question and you get your answer and so forth, ping pong. All this happens mostly in a noisy surrounding, very noisy. So of course I bought the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus and the Roland FILMMAKING kit with lavalier microphones. Both microphones, the VideoMic Pro and the Roland units, are powered with separate batteries. I will not say too much at this moment, but this is a fact that you should keep in mind, definitely. So I recorded my voice via the Roland direct onto the internal cards of my camera. Since I had no audio interface with several audio inputs, I had to find a solution for recording audio from my VideoMic Pro Plus on another device. And this device was somehow a video monitor recorder. The whole filming world speaks about video monitors. Their pros are unbeatable. You have a larger display for checking exposure, for example, than the internal flip LCD screen at the A7S III. And you have the ability to record internally in Apple ProRes or an Avid DNX HD codecs. Video formats which have been now baked in color profiles and are available in different qualities. I will not dive too deep into the science behind this, but this allows you later a more easy and quicker post-production if you grade the video film in a manner that your job requests. The price for this advantage is a much bigger file size that requests enough place to store your films. By this reason, video monitors are able to record the files directly on SSD drives via HDMI, which you also have to buy separately. The two monitors I was thinking about to buy were the Atomos Ninja 5 and alternatively the Blackmagic Video Assist 7-inch 12G. The last one had a big pro to me because of a large 2500 nits bright display, which is able to record on any kind of standard SSD drives. This saves money. The Ninja 5 has only 1000 nits bright display, which is approximately as bright as your smartphone. And you know how your display looks in a surrounding where the sun is shining very bright. The problem is that Blackmagic and Sony are not so good friends, I don't know. So the company does not support Sony cameras. Good for you if you use a camera from Panasonic. So Blackmagic RAW and Sony RAW are not compatible, unfortunately. Of course, I forget to mention here that the A7S III has an internal HDMI output to transfer the internal RAW signal to other devices. So finally, I bought the Ninja 5 and a 1TB 870 QVO SSD drive from Samsung for recording. To say it here, this was my first big mistake. When my hardware was complete, it was time to bring all things together to create a portable mobile solution, the run-and-gun camera rig. I will not go too much into details, but I bought mainly stuff from SmallRig and from Tilter. I bought a base plate, additional hardware to mount some rods, and the multi-adapter kit. I bought a top handle from Tilter and another rod to mount the VideoMic and the Ninja V. And then I had my run-and-gun camera set up, which was nearly perfect so far. What I couldn't manage was to power all units together. The camera worked separately, the microphones too, and also the Ninja 5 because I could not use the battery dummy from the adapter kit to power the video monitor up. Also for this thing I had to buy a separate battery, which is part of the larger NPFL series. So the great moment came. It was Superbooth time and I started happily with filming. The Atomos Ninja V worked perfectly as a control monitor. Within a very short time I got used to it so quickly that I forgot to look on the screen of my A7S III. The point is that you can decide in the HDMI settings from your camera if the info screen shall be shown internally or externally, transferred via the HDMI connection to be to the connected unit. In my case, this was turned off, which was somehow very risky. On the other hand, if you route the signal to the Ninja 5, you will see all infos of both the camera and the Ninja 5 on one display. This is so much information that it disturbs you while you work with it. So it was okay to work with both screens. I know now that it is better to look on both screens from time to time. To recognize some info or warning sign could be helpful. The second thing that happened was exactly that, a warning sign in the screen of the Ninja 5. I didn't know where it came from, but after a couple of seconds the screen started also to flicker, on and off. I didn't know what has happened. I checked the videos by replaying them and no video was recorded. I got a dark screen, but only audio. In Ninja 5 I removed the SSD and inserted it again. That helped for a few seconds, but the problem returned again and again. Fortunately, my camera had recorded internally what I had filmed. This was mentioned as a backup solution, and now I really needed this backup. Since I filmed everything in 4K, I had really to watch my 80 GB memory cards. But for the first videos this worked. The day passed by, and being at home again, I started to transfer all files to my PC. Of course, I was very curious how the image quality of ProRes files would look like. So I opened quickly a project in DaVinci Resolve, added the files, and I saw nothing, no images, only audio. And the craziest thing was that the Ninja 5 had cutted all video files into hundreds of small pieces. The result of the on and off process that I had watched. The audio was audible and not sliced. So the video mic had worked properly so far, and I recorded usable audio files. This was strange enough to me, but helpful. What did I learn from that? You cannot work with ProRes files in DaVinci Resolve directly. Resolve under Windows doesn't accept this codec, which is no special Resolve problem, but a problem of Windows. Of course, there's a solution for everything. You can work with ProRes on any Apple computer. This is the simplest way. You only need a computer with macOS. Or you can install a program that converts your ProRes files into MP4 files, like UniConverter from Wondershare, for example. This software is a huge tool for many jobs. The problem is that you add a lot of compression to the converted files, and I don't know if you lose the quality that you want to get with ProRes raw files itself. However, the sliced files were not the problem. That could be solved by converting all files. Later I had a very kind discussion with the support from Atomos, and they explained me that I had used the wrong SSD drive. Atomos had published a list of drives that shall work perfectly together with the Ninja 5. I discussed that I used a more modern or actual SSD drive, the 870 QVO SSD drive from Samsung. Anyway, it is not tested by Atomos and not recommended. Finally, to get through the Superbooth event, I removed the SSD and worked with the Ninja 5 only as a monitor, which was okay at this moment, but not what I really wanted. Later, some weeks after the Superbooth, I decided to buy an original SSD from Atomos for the double price of the other SSD. It was the Atom X SSD Mini with 500 GB. Also, this didn't work and caused the same problems. Something must be wrong with the Ninja 5 itself. What did I learn from that? Well, never go into a race with new equipment that you have never tested before, intensively. You can get really bad surprises. During recording the first interviews, I recorded the voice of my interview partner perfectly with the Rode Video mic on the Ninja 5. I explained that before. Also, I recorded my voice with the Rode Link microphone that was connected directly with my camera. In Resolve I could put everything together, and I created my interview videos published in Superbooth 2022 Part 1 and 2. So far so good. What I didn't recognize was the moment when the receiver of my Rode Link turned off because of the battery that was dead. Then I recorded videos without audio. What a disaster. Of course, I had inserted brand new batteries into the microphones before the event, but being happy with this was obviously not enough. I didn't check the status, and this was the result. I was shocked because I had done some interesting interviews which were now unusable. The consequence was the following. After removing the SSD from the Ninja 5, because of the video recording problems, I removed my Rode Link set and inserted the VideoMic Pro Plus directly into my A7S III. To work with this constellation is okay in a silent room, but not at the Superbooth. Also, I had to get very close to the microphone during an interview to to catch my voice, which made the filming situation very uncomfortable, as you can imagine. The last mistake happened on the last day, when I started with my reduced setup, thinking now that everything was okay. It wasn't again. Now I recorded my whole stuff on my camera internal CF Express cards. They gave me approximately 2 hours of recording time, which should be okay on the last day. So I started again with empty cards, and by accident I turned the recording priority from card 1 to card number 2. The recording was set to standard parameters, what means that the camera was set to permanent recording. If card number 1 would be full, the recording would automatically continue with card number 2. Of course, I thought that the same process would happen if you start recording on card number 2. I thought that the recording would continue with card number 1 if 2 is full. Exactly this didn't happen. Again, I recorded some interviews. The sun was sinking and all were in good mood. My card number 2 was full after 1 hour, but the recording did not jump back to card number 1, which still was empty. Slot number 2 became dark red, showing me that it was full of data and nothing more happened. I don't know why this happened, but I also lost some nice stuff at the end of Superbooth 2022. Yes, this was really a big disaster. Well, some of you might laugh while watching this. And yes, some of the mistakes that happened to me were based on inexperience. Others happened by technical problems. It was really a bad combination of everything that can go wrong. But it was good for a learning process, and this is also the reason why I share my problems here. I think this is important. The most videos on YouTube are so perfect. Everything seems to be so easy. Do this and do that. Put this stuff and that stuff together and you will become easily a perfect filmmaker. I would be so happy if it were so. But the whole thing is a long and intense learning process, and it's learning by doing and making mistakes. It will take a decent time to become better and better, and in my opinion it doesn't matter if you make mistakes and if you talk about it to help others to find their way. Now in July 2022 I've built a new camera rig, and I will tell you after the summer if this works better than the one before, promised. Of course I still use my Sony A7S III and power it with the multi-adapter kit from Sony. After testing the Ninja V again and again with different configurations, trying to convert the recorded files with different converter programs for Windows, after getting the same problems during recording videos, sometimes it recorded a video properly, but in the following session it forgot the media, the Atomos SSD, and recorded nothing but audio again. I was so fed up by all this that I removed the Ninja 5 from the camera. I will bring it now back to the service to check if there is a basic mistake in this unit, and if not, I will give it back to my dealer. Now I record only internally and will buy a second pair of CF Express cards. This should be enough for my work. The second thing that I removed was the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus and also the Rode Link units. Instead of this, I bought and installed the Sony XLR K3M interface with ECM XM1 microphone and also the Rode Wireless Go 2. With this interface I can now record up to 4-channel audio internally, and I don't need an external recorder for this anymore. I'm very curious how the new setup will work in a real live interview situation. I will test this on my next vacation and report about it in the next video. Well, this was a lot of technical stuff. I hope it was okay for you to get some reflection about my mistakes and my experiences. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below, and we will see us in the next episode of Freak Out Your Synth soon. By the way, don't forget to like and to subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Bye bye.